The one they call the Big Daddy Kane is here as the party animal, sex symbol, soloist, vocalist, microphone miracle, here to react, attack. As a matter of fact, I bring forth a sudden impact. Wanna say knick-knack, paddywhack, give Kane a microphone, and all the other MCs are going.
At the Grand Concourse 149th Street station in the Bronx, graffiti writers gather at what they call the writer's bench.
What's good, what's good, what's good? Live from the Writer's Bench, it's your man Kil with another episode. We got Beezo and JP on tap for the night. What's going on, y'all?
What up?
What up?
That's what it is, that's what it is. Yo, this week's episode, we did a previous episode sort of like this. We did our top 5 slept-on producers. We shouted out Bing, Beat Miners, Beat Nuts. We've shouted out a rack of folk, Easy Mo B, and got such good feedback from that show. I mean, that's actually how we linked up with Bink and Jake One through that show, so wanted to show love to a lot of the MCs. So this is our top 5 slept-on MCs show. Now, for cats, this is what we tried to stay away from was the random top 10 that most folk have. So the Bigs, the J's, the Nas, the Kanes, the G-Raps, the usual names that usually make those top 10. So for some of these names you hear, they may be cats you never really heard of, or maybe cats you never really listened to or whatever like that. So, you know, prayerfully this will be a show where cats can kind of chime in on joints and cats can hear different people's names and maybe go back and check them out to see, you know, see why we dig them so much. So, JP, why don't we get started with you? Who's your first MC up?
My first MC is, you know, and I mentioned him in probably one of our previous joints, is Fonte.
Yeah,
I think from Little Brother, and I think, you know, I think he's pretty well known, you know, as far as hip hop goes. You know, Little Brother, I mean, they never had real mainstream success, but you know, a lot of today's biggest MCs will mention them as inspiration. You know what I'm saying? Drake has, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But I think Fonte, to me, he's never named in those top 10 lists, top 20 lists. But his insight, like he writes rhymes that are very relatable, and he's nice with it. Like lyrically, you know, I've never been the one to be like, well, you know, subject matter for me is not a prerequisite of being a nice MC, because you could be talking about guns and drugs and girls in the club. If it's whack, I don't want to hear it. You could be talking about uplifting the black community, doing right by our women, take care of our children. If it's whack, I don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? But he has that balance of lyrical skill and just and you know, a consciousness to him, you know what I'm saying, but a reality more so than anything. He's very relatable. He's almost like the blue collar MC. You know what I'm saying? But he's dope. So he's one I feel like he's never talked about enough to me, you know what I'm saying, and one of my favorites.
Right. Beezer, what you think about Ted?
I mean, I'll be honest. So like I mentioned when we talked about him before, I was never big on Little Brother, so I'm not that familiar with the cat or whatever.
Right.
I'll be honest. So it's really, I really can't say. I have to go check him out because I wouldn't know his rhymes from my rhymes. You know what I mean? And I don't rhyme, so I'd have to know how nice he is.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. I wasn't a big Little Brother fan either, but even in hearing their stuff, I always liked Fonte.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't a huge Ninth fan or, you know, cool, you know, but Fonte, I was always like, dude got something. Like, you know, like it's something special about dude. And it may be I don't think it's far stretch for me to say this, because I've said this before. He reminds me of a Mos Def type MC, like the MC who can he can sing too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
he can sing for it. Yeah.
When I was working for Couch Sessions and they sent me to join for Foreign Exchange and Review. And I just heard this dude singing all day. I'm like, yo, I don't get it. Like, and my homegirl had to tell me, now that's Fonte. And I'm like, oh, okay, this dude can sing too. You know what I mean? So I think maybe that's why he kind of reminds me of Mos, and the rhymes are dope. But like his album Charity Starts at Home, you know, just a solid album. It was almost one of those things while everybody else was upset that Little Brother broke up. I was like, yes, like now I can get them over some other, type beef so I could really, enjoy this dude. And the funniest thing is, like, 2 of my favorite songs on Charity Starts at Home are 9th Wonder beats. So ironic, but yeah, Tay is dope. And I always tell cats, to me, like, he's the dopest MC from 2000 on, like that.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, hell yeah. Like, you stepped on the scene, like, from 2000 to right now. Not nobody who came before, but post 2000, to me, he's easily like the nicest MC.
I really gotta check him out now.
Yeah,
let me ask you something. You just mentioned 9th Wonder. I thought they was originally Dilla's group.
Nah. Little Brother was from NC, and they kind of got on big back in maybe it was 92. No, I'm bugging. 2000.
2000, yeah, 2000 when the listening came out.
Yeah, because
who was it that had the album The Minstrel Show? Was that them?
That was them. That was Little Brother.
That's
when they had signed. They had signed a major label, and that was their major label release.
Yeah.
I think for me it was one of them scenarios I mentioned last show that one of my mans had like hyped them up like, yo, these cats is dope, they dope, you gotta check them out, And then I heard it was like, and, I'm kind of like you, Kill. The first thing's gonna catch me is the beat, and I didn't hear no beats that made me stop. Like, yo, I gotta hear this shit. And then I guess listening to them lyrically, I guess I got caught up in the beats, man. Just wasn't feeling the music, so it was like, I'm good. One of my mans swears by them cats though.
Yeah, I understand it. Like in a group or in a duo, well, a group that has 2 MCs, there's always one that's considerably better than the other. Most times, you know what I'm saying? He's that one. You know what I'm saying? Like, 3 Stacks and Big Boy. Most people would choose 3 Stacks or whatever. So I mean, he clearly has, and Big Pooh, which is the other member of Little Brother. I mean, he was okay, but like when Fonte would come on, it's just a huge difference, man. Huge difference.
Yeah, and I'm similar to Beezo. My man had hyped them up so much, So again, it's no this the Pooh and Knife is just like it was. Cash was like, my man was like, yo, Pete invited them to the basement, and yo, they was in D&D, and they the new Tribe Called Quest, and then I heard like, I don't know about the new Tribe Called Quest, but it just, and I think it was that hypeness of it up.
Yeah, you can't do that. I didn't, like, somebody, my man put me up on him, but he didn't hype him up. He was like, yo, these cats is dope, you should check them out. And that's what I did. Like, I mean, I understand they come from that same tree of the tribes and all that. They come from that branch. But to hype, and that's why I understand why people hyping them up. Like, the millennium was just changing and music was changing, and this was kind of these dudes with the beats and the rhymes was kind of reminiscent of the early 90s. So cats was, missing that, hearing about these cats. Of course, they're going to hype them up. But then when you hype them up like that, you actually comparing them like, nah, it's an extension of that era, that early 90s era, but not better than, but just, keeping on that same path.
Right. But now I feel you with Fonte, and like you said, being a blue collar MC, Patty Starts at Home. He's talking about dudes getting laid off from their job. He's talking about dudes trying to be faithful in their marriage. He's talking about stuff that people, hip hop heads our age can relate to, and that's why I salute dude for. So I definitely feel that, JP. Beezo, who you got on tap?
Well, I wasn't gonna say him first, but being the way JP just described Homeboy, I think it kind of fits in line with my feelings about this cat, and that's Pooh Bah, Grand Pooh Bah from Brand Nubians. And I know I mentioned him, that verse from what's the 411 and all that. And I'm sure both of y'all know, for the people watching this on Facebook, we can sometimes get into back and forth with some of the people that watch the episodes and whatnot, and a couple of individuals, one individual in particular, it's going back and forth with about both It Was Written and Pooh Bah. And my thing about Pooh Bah, I'm not going to even get into It Was Written. I'm going to leave that alone. Although I will say this. I had to say this. I thought it was just me, so I've been religiously like asking every cat that I know like that, like, yo, It Was Written in Illmatic. And cats, every single one of my people said the same thing, like, why you even mention them in the same breath? So I'm like, so it's not just like, nah, like, yo, that It Was Written was trash compared to Illmatic. So I'm gonna leave that alone. That was just some of my peoples. Everyone I talk to
on this because we keep talking about everything.
But I got to just put that out there because
go back to Pooba, man.
Because like I said, I never heard anybody say that until you mentioned it that time. But anyway, going back to my man Pooba. The thing I love about Pooba is he can hit you with that old style of being, you know, just fly, talking braggadocious, talking about himself. I could do this, I could do that lyrically, whatever. But then he'll come right back and talk about some, you know, guard body shit and be talking about uplifting and taking care of the seeds and this and that, and then go right back to the other shit. You know what I mean? His flows is ridiculous. His wordplay is ridiculous. And he has a very distinctive voice. You know what I mean? And I've been a fan of Pooba's, man, since lyrically, since day one. Literally, since day one, I should say. Yeah. Because the dude he just can spit. I mean, I know, Kil, you had mentioned about, like, if you have a verse or something in mind that one of these cats, and I've been listening to a lot of Pooba just on the strength of the conversation on Facebook. Like, man, am I bugging out about this cat? Let me check. And I came across the song Foundation off of the Foundation album. And as usual, Pooba goes last. Yo, this cat, he does exactly what I just mentioned in this one verse, back and forth on some spitting, on some dropping shit, spit and drop, back and forth so seamlessly, it's ridiculous. But just check this out. Bear with me if I mess up a little bit because my throat is fucked up. But the cat says, now my verbal illustration, graphic more than PlayStation. Microphone occupation, operation, save the nation. Black crusader, persuader, educator, knowledge detonator, none greater. Leave a hater stuck like a project elevator. Or we jamming it airtight like a laminate. You can't contaminate. Go-getters, we be superb just like Justin's catfish fritters. Now I got 2,000 flows, only 4 less than all of my hoes. Oops, I mean my bros, but I'm just keeping y'all on your toes. Excitement for your enlightenment, spitting novels, getting bravos. I'm not really sure what he's saying right there. Tearing it up like El Nino, keeping it hotter than jalapenos. Microphone holders, doing more damage than rolling boulders. Rhyme style short of Folger, nod your head right off your shoulders. See my intention, black on black prevention, break the tension, teach the seeds, tell them what they need, and then collect my pension. Brand Nubian, baby, born more flows than a test tube valve. Your radio gleam on Brand Nubian, name on your dial. And then, like I said, the way he spits that shit, some of it's like that quick tongue shit, and then he'll slow it down, then he'll ride the beat, you know what I'm saying? Then he'll talk about some knowledge shit, then he'll bring it back to some spitting shit, then go back to some dropping knowledge shit. So I love the cat, man. He's just crazy nice with it, and I don't think enough cats realize. And he also, when Pete Rock did The Creator, I think it was, some of his rhymes off of Mecca and the Soul Brother is Pooba. And I don't know a lot of people realize that or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, Pooba's dope, man. I mean, I definitely could see how cats, you know, like, I mean, he's not getting in nobody's top 10, but I remember maybe back in 93, 94, to me, Pooba there was a time in hip hop where Pooba was one of the nicest dudes out. You know what I'm saying? There was a time when it was like a Pooba verse was just as dope as what a Jay-Z verse would have been or a Nas verse would have been. I don't know the exact year, but there was a time that I remember it being like, yo, dude is one of the most dangerous dudes walking the planet right now. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel you on Pooba or whatever like that. What you say about Pooba, JP?
You know, I never really thought that. Well, I don't know. I never really thought that I would consider him, you know, underrated or slept on. You know, because I feel like when he was that hot, when he was that dude, everybody respected it at that time. So I don't know if I would consider him slept on. I think
you know what it is, JP. Not to cut you off, but you know what it is? It's really from all these Facebook conversations. Yo, you got me feeling some kind of way. Like, yo, am I bugging? Like, you know, the cat's not seated. This nigga is that nice. Because here's the thing. Like, the reason I brought it was written is like because the thing that I've realized over the years is we all have our tight circle of people that we rock with. You hear some new dope shit. You know you're gonna hit your man over here. He hits some shit, gonna hit you up, and you know you usually tend to have the same taste or whatever. So I started wondering, like, you know what, B? Maybe it's just that it's just my peoples. You know what I mean? It's me and my peoples, and maybe there is, you know, plenty of other cats that don't see Pooba like this or don't see it was written like we do. So I guess maybe maybe it's just me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was asking people like, yo, what do y'all think? And
I mean, I think you know, because I'm thinking about it, and in my eyes, he was never slept on or underrated. But you know, as you're talking, and when I think about it, like he's not mentioned in, you know, the likes of the Canes and the Rakims and G-Raps, and you know what I'm saying. So maybe because clearly, you know, when Brand Nubian was big, he was clearly the best MC in the crew. You know what I'm saying? But now we don't mention him. We don't mention Brand Nubian with the Tribe and stuff like that. But that's because of the like Tribe was together the entire time. But you know, Pooh Bah left after the first album. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I mean, but I don't know. I don't know if I can still consider him slept on. But you have a valid point now that I think about it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we're gonna go into my first one. In fact, this dude has sat in with us. You know what I'm saying? And that's Grap Lover. You know what I mean? I know a lot of cats don't really maybe look at Grap as an MC, but like when that Faking Jacks joint came out, you know what I mean, with Pete, you know, it was just like, I just felt like Grap had the whole package. I felt like Grap had the ill laid back, he had the ill voice. You know, you heard Grap Lover, you knew it was Grap Lover. He had that real smooth flow, and it was almost like Pete and CL. It was like Pete and Grap, like that I album to me is like 5 mic classic. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a dope combination. Even after I mean, even joints he dropped here and there. One of my, I mean, it's not new, but one of the newer joints that him and Pete did, the joint called Revenge, was just bonkers, man. You know what I mean? So I always loved Grap, and I still want to sit down and chop it up with him one day to really get into, like, yo, dog, why don't you rhyme no more, man? Like, you know, Beezo, when we did the Hands Up joint, I reached out to him on Twitter. He said he was rocking with one of your joints. He was like, "Yo, I ain't picked up the pen and the pad in a minute."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, dog, yo, Grap, I know you watch the show, man. Please, man, you know, if not for nobody, just drop a verse somewhere, you know, because I always was waiting for that Grap Lover solo album. I mean, one of the shows we're going to do in the future is like albums we wish would have come out, and that's definitely one of mine, a Pete Rock produced Grap Lover album. You know, that's just it for me. So what do y'all think about Grap? Well, I'll go to JP first because I know that's your man, B. So we'll give it to you first.
You know, besides Faking Jacks, man, I never had heard enough from Grap Lover. Besides Faking Jacks and being on the Pete Rock and CL album, that was pretty much it. I didn't hear the I album. I never heard it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not well versed in his lyrics or nothing like that. So I mean, you know, you got me on this one. Like I need to go check more of his stuff out. Like the I album, I remember it coming out, and I remember Faking Jacks was my joint, but that was it for me. That was it. You know what I'm saying? Nothing else. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't, you know, pick up. I mean, hear another Grap Lover verse to save my life. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Right, but I think the dope thing about shows like this is, you know, cats is learning from each other, you know, because Beezo never really rock with Fonte. Right. He'll go dig in the crates and hear some Tay. I'll send you the I joint tonight.
Okay, cool.
It was like,
send me that shit too, Kil. Send me that shit too.
Yeah. So, you know, I think that's the dope. That's why I look forward to these shows, because cats may tell me about something like you said, Beezo. The circles you run with, this being a writer's bench, and you know, with us running with each other, it's like, okay, boom. Same way we put Beezo, you down with the Elzai joint, the Elmatic joint. You know what I mean? So, you know, it is what it is. But what you think about Grap on the mic, man?
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here in front like I got like some sitting, you know, in the cafeteria in high school, you know, the cat was spitting, you know, and shit like that. But on the stuff that I did here, because it was funny, man. I know, knowing the cat for all them years, Grap used to dance a little something at first, if I'm not mistaken.
Grap used to dance, yo, son, at that Pete Primo show 2 weeks ago.
Oh, he was cutting the rug?
4 hours straight.
Yeah, there you go.
4 hours straight.
He used to more dance, so it was like when I heard him, yo, it's the Grap Lover, the younger soul brother, I was like, oh shit, that nigga G is rhyming. Okay, so that was the first time I didn't even know he spit. And then even the other cats in I like Rob, and I forget my other nigga's name, it's my man too. I didn't even know these cats spit. So when they had the whole group, I was as blown away by it as you were, probably, Kil. Like, it just came out of left field. I had no idea. You know, I knew Grap was doing stuff on the radio with Pete. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was hosting a couple of shows here or there, stuff like that. But I had no idea the cat spit like that at all. But when I started hearing him, and the first thing that jumps out is his voice. You know what I'm saying? Because when you know him, when you meet him, you know, he's short cat, you know, skinny dude, whatever, you know what I'm saying, yardie cat. and he got that bass in his voice, and it just flows. The flow and shit was just like natural. You know what I'm saying? He didn't sound like somebody that just picked up a mic and started writing and trying to rhyme, which is half of these cats nowadays sound like to me. But he sounded like a cat that been spitting for years, which, like I said, blew my mind. I'm like, damn, I had no idea this cat was rhyming all this time. I thought he was just dancing and shit like that.
Right.
But yeah, I love the Iron Out shit too, but I don't know what I did with that shit. So yeah, definitely send me a copy of that joint too.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, JP, who you got on tap next?
It's another one that I think a lot of y'all, and I've heard people talk about how he's, slept on, underrated, underappreciated, whatever you want to call it. He's not mentioned in the names with the greats. I think the funny thing about this artist, I think he's probably, I hear more people talking about how he's not mentioned so much that eventually he will be. You know what I'm saying? And that has to be Black Thought from the Roots. I feel like this dude, man. I remember a few years ago when he was doing the BET Hip Hop Awards Cypher. He was in the one with Eminem and Mos Def and he killed. Like, I can't remember it word for word, but I just remember, even before then, I always thought he was nice, but I feel like as time goes on, he gets even better. Like, lyrically, he is so sharp, man. It's a shame that he doesn't get the props he deserves. And I mean, it's I think throughout all the albums, and I've bought most of the albums, maybe like 3 albums I haven't bought, but every album, man, lyrically, sometimes the beats are questionable, but lyrically, he said some stuff that's like just insane. Like, he's an MC's MC to me. You know what I'm saying? Because he'll spit. I heard him like maybe when their last album was coming out, and they sat in with him and Questlove sat in with Sway, and they just let Black Thought go, and he was rhyming like crazy. I mean, if you could pull that up whenever y'all get a chance on YouTube or whatever, when Quest and Roots was sitting in with Sway in the morning, and he was just sitting down spitting, like they would let the beat rock, and he was just spitting, and it was, what he was saying was just insane. He's one of the MCs that make you rewind and be like, what he said? Like, what, like that type of, that when you could do that, you one of the good dudes that can spit like that. Because I always want an MC to make me go back and be like, what did he say? Like, so I can clarify. So he's one of them cats, but highly slept on, never mentioned with the top 10, mostly not in people's top 10, but I feel like he deserves it.
Right. I mean, y'all know that's the crib. So I think the only, and I ain't even gonna go into that, but yeah, Thought is definitely, I think he was one of the dudes where back in the days when it would be like Rhapsody and stuff like that in the basement with Big Tigger, when Thought came off the top of the dome, Thought came off the top of the dome. It wasn't like, yo, here's a verse from my upcoming album that's gonna drop next month and I'm gonna just spit some. Like 9 times out of 10, when you hear Thought freestyle, he's really freestyling. It's not about you gonna hear that verse in 3 months, or he's coming off the top of the dome. I remember back in the day on the Lyricist Lounge that came out back in '97. It was like him, Calm, somebody else. They was all on Stretching Bobbito. Thought just goes in, and I mean, it's almost like it's 2 MCs who I always say this about. It's Prodigy and Thought. And when it's like, to me, they're just like 2 pit bulls. You know what I mean? It's like you just take that leash off and they going for your neck. Like, there's like, when P was P, like, it's like you take that chain off and it's a wrap. And that's how I always said with Thought and Prodigy, those were like the 2 MCs will always be like, yo, those are like the pit bulls of rap. Like, you give Thought a chance to get busy, he gonna get busy, all right? So I definitely feel you. What you think about Thought, B?
I mean, I'm gonna take you back to last year sometime. I think even before we started doing the shows, where we had a discussion about best MCs of all time, and I put together my own list real quick, and he was on that list. And I'm talking about, like, he was at least in my top 15 and my top 10 of all time. I'm talking about going back to like Grandmaster Cash from Cold Crush to right now. You know what I'm saying? That, to me, of all MCs I've heard in my 43 years, I haven't long hip hop out, I see Black Thought in the top echelon of those MCs. Like, JP, you hit it on the head. He's an MC's MC. The cat, and here's the crazy shit. I have never bought a Roots album in my life, and I know how nice that nigga is.
Right, exactly. I'm the same with Eminem. I've never bought an Eminem album, but I know he's ridiculously nice.
But I don't need to listen to every single song.
Right.
Because I already know. I've heard enough
right.
from his guest spots and the singles it is that I've heard or whatever to know like, yo, this nigga is nice. You know what I equate him to? He's like, you talking about luxury cars. He's like a slept-on luxury. He's like an Audi A6. You know what I mean? It's like everybody wants the Benz and the Beamer for the name. Everybody wants Jay and Nas for the name. But you want a nice, dope ride, comfortable, fast, with dope handling. Black Thought is that dude, yo. Word up. He's that cat, straight up, yo. That nigga's nice, yo.
I feel you, B. Who you got next?
Well, truth be told, he was, and I was about to say, he was actually one of my people, was Black Thought. So I'm going to go to somebody that I guess he's slept on, maybe more by people like us than a younger audience per se. Mm-hmm. I just like his lyricism, man, his wittiness with his verbiage and his analogies and shit. It's just making me laugh sometimes because he's just so ill with it. And that's a cat Fabulous, yo. I know a lot of dudes that do not like Fabulous. Wow. I really don't know why. I think some of them, I know one of my mans is like, he don't like his beats because he's trying to be Jay-Z too much and this and that. And I'm like, all right, I hear you. I'm like, but that's like when cats used to hate on Kobe because they saying he trying to be Michael Jordan. And I'd be like,
right.
If you're going to strive to be the greatest of all time, why wouldn't you emulate the greatest of all time? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to hold that against him. I'm going to take it like, all right, well, show me what you got there. And that nigga has shown me what he got. Mm-hmm. And the perfect example was yesterday. He was on ESPN's First Take with Stephen A. and Homeboy.
I saw it.
And, Fab is not the most outgoing, loudest dude, you know what I'm saying? So having him on there was kind of funny to me, like, yo, he just, I don't say he's got a dull personality, but he's not bubbly and he's not bouncing off the screen at you, whatever.
Especially against Stephen A.
Exactly. He's not Stephen A. But afterwards, he posted something on his Instagram account. I have to read this to y'all, yo. I was like, see, this is what I'm talking about, this nigga, man. He wrote, First Take, came up with this in the first break. A few commercials. That's about as long as a verse take. I know I'm late, but Skip, you a wild boy. You made Stephen A. dress up like a cowboy. Dallas probably loved that. Use it for a promo. You in deep waters now, Smith. You need to Romo. Like Romo, but Romo. To start, we talk Cowboys and how I feel about them. Playing good, I like DeMarco, but still doubt him. And Kobe beefing, but it wasn't about a state. It's about the money that the owner's about to make and what the players should take. Don't be greedy. What's the TV deal without the players? Pay me like you need me, and y'all don't see it because y'all probably are married. But while y'all argue about sports, I'ma holler at Carrie. That's the the hot chick that.
Yeah.
Anytime you need me, just request me in, cause it's always good times up at ESPN. I read that shit. I'm like, yo, this is what I'm talking about, this dude, man. He wrote it in between, in the break, son, in the middle of during commercials. But it's just that verse right there. I can name about 3 or 4 MCs right now that are writing some shit that's better than that, man. A lot of these niggas right now, just out there, it's on the radio every goddamn day, every 5 minutes. Versus ain't even competing with that little bullshit from the cat, as far as I'm concerned. And I just think like I said, I know, again, maybe it's one of these things where it's the circle I run with, but I do know a number of cats that just don't like him for some reason. I'm like, but dog, what about when he said, cruise like Tom and Penelope and take it to the mall, pick and roll like Stockton and Malone? I'm like, yo, that's some ill, come on, fam. He putting you in a space like, making you think like you said, JP, like, I gotta rewind that shit. Did that nigga pick and roll like Stockton and Malone? Okay. Yo, Fab is good for that shit. I think his problem is he tries too hard to get like the radio play, so he gets those types of tracks that it's almost like they don't fit him. It's like you trying too hard to fit into a certain genre or whatever, and I think that kind of hurts him. But I personally love his style lyrically. I've only bought one album of his too, but lyrically, I love the way the cat spits, yo.
See, I think for me, I was one of the cats who never really liked Fab when he first came out back in, I guess, 99 or whatever. I think it was just everybody from Brooklyn was telling me about this dude Fab and Cool Mixtapes and Desert Storm. And, it's like I heard him and I'm just like, again, I'm just at that point in time, what was that, maybe 99, 2000 when he dropped, it was just, you know, I was so anti-radio, and he doing songs with Lil Mo and, you know, all that stuff that I just really wasn't feeling. It wasn't until I heard Breathe that I was like, ooh, okay. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost to the point I kind of understood where Cass was coming from, because it was the same with me and the boy Cassidy. Cassidy is my young boy, lived across the street from me back in Philly, and seeing him, what he was doing in Philly on the mixtapes and all that, it was like, yo, Cass got the deal. And then I hear Hotel, and I'm like, whoa, that's not the Cass that I knew, you know what I'm saying, or anything like that. And I think maybe that's what happened with Fab, because the way Cass would big him up in Brooklyn was like, yo, he's this ill MC, but I just wasn't hearing it through these radio songs. But when he dropped Breathe, that's what got my attention, and it was like, yo, I wish he would do more stuff like this. Like, I wish he would do more stuff.
That's his lane.
Right.
That's his lane.
I wish he would do more stuff over these type tracks. And I mean, ever since he started dropping them soul tapes, I'm good with dude, man. You know what I mean? There's not a soul tape I'm not banging. One of my favorite joints right now is the joint he got Cuffing Season. Like, I love that joint. Like, bang it religiously. So I know for me, that was one of the reasons why I didn't like Fab, because I just never heard enough of him over, like, on some real hip hop shit. It was always he on a song, he got To Me on his joint, or he on this per, you know what I mean? But the thing that I salute the dude for is he may be just as high. He's probably hotter now than he was when he dropped. And I would say that's very hard to do, to be like, yo, for 14 years, this dude is still, you know, cats still talk about him, cats are still interested in him, and maybe even more. And I think he may literally have the record for guest spots, because this dude has been on like everybody's, like, I think he may hold the Guinness Book of World Records for, you know, joints like that. But yeah, when to me, when Fab makes that type of shit that I like, it's incredible. You know, I just think a lot of times he's not making the type of music that I really did. What you think, Jay?
I think he's another one where, again, like what Beezo said, I don't know if I consider him slept on. You know, I think lyrically he's always been respected. But I can say that maybe he's been slept on, because I feel like, I mean, you know, after Jay, he's been the most consistent dude out of Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Ain't been nobody else who's held Brooklyn down besides Jade and Fabulous, lyrically and everything. You know what I'm saying? He may not have the, you know how people are nice but don't have the star power. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are chicks in the game who can sing, but they don't become big stars because it's more than just singing. Right. You know what I'm saying? He's lyrically nice. Like, I feel like it's the same. He's in the same. To me, he's in the same boat as Jadakiss.
Oh,
you know, I feel like
next one, doggy. I got.
No, I'm not. You can still go on there. I'm not going to hop on it.
Word up.
I feel like they're all respected lyrically, because nobody can doubt their lyrical abilities. But as far as having that crossover, that mainstream success, they haven't. You know, maybe Fabulous has come closer than Jada, because you know Jada. I mean, he's had a couple solo albums, but he's originally from a group. So, but I think Fab, man, you know, I've always loved Fab. His wordplay has been excellent over the years, consistent, and he's just getting better. Like he's one of them MCs. Like, I don't think his lyrical game has fell off. Like, he's like Black Thought to me. Like, you know, some MCs, they kind of fall off after a while, you know, and just because they got a name, they can get away with saying certain stuff. But I feel like he's just as sharp, if not better, than than when he first came out. And like Kil said, you know, them Soul Tape albums, especially the third one, the last mixtape, I think, and one of my favorite joints is the joint he got with Jadakiss. That joint is crazy. I can't remember the name, it escapes me right now, but that joint is crazy.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I guess he would be slept on because he hasn't had that success like, you know, other MCs, but he's just he stayed consistent, like, under the radar for the most part. I mean, people know who he is and stuff like that, but he hasn't blown up like a T.I. or somebody like that. But yeah, you know, I get with that.
One thing that because you mentioned it, Kil, when you brought up the song "Breathe," and I think that's where it did change for a lot of cats. Their opinion, the people that didn't like him, I think that's where it changed. But from what I understand, I think what Roots was telling me this years back, that track was actually meant for Jay-Z.
I heard about that too.
Jay-Z didn't want it for some ungodly. I have no idea why. The track was crazy.
Yeah.
But you got to think about this, because like you mentioned about Clue, who was Clue DJing for during the Black Album? I mean, during what was the tour they did the movie on and all that shit? He was with Jay.
Jay, right.
and Fab was his young boy coming up. So I'm sure, Clue looked at him like, looked at Jay's blueprint and Puff's blueprint and figured I gotta try to fit Fab into that. This dope lyricist, but get him on these types of tracks, get him wearing suit and tie, and when he's only 19, 20 years old, you know what I'm saying? He's still running around in the hood with hood cats. Right. And I think that obviously didn't, knock him off, but I think it did slow his ascension to being like giving like you said, Jay, like, he's what was it you said that like some people they're good but they don't have that stardom, and I think he just doesn't have that yet, and I think some of that may be his personality because he isn't the most flamboyant, outgoing. It's funny that his name is Fabulous. It's just like personality wise he's more like a pencil, like okay, right. He don't have much to say, but that's my dude, man. I fuck with Fab, yo.
All right. But my next joint, it's funny, JP, you brought up his name earlier. I'm gonna say Big Boy.
That was my next one.
What I mean? We could go back and forth on this because I felt like, to me, to be honest with you, probably up until Aquemini, I kind of always had them neck and neck. I never really looked at like 3 Stacks was like light years ahead of him. It wasn't until Aquemini when I was like, because I was like with Southern Playalistics, I was like, yo, this is dope. Both MCs are dope. You know what I mean? It's not a basic, he's much better than the other one. Even, and I think even when cats say that about Big Boy, I still feel like it's like he's not like light years. I guess the thing is 3000 is so ahead of everybody that anybody would be behind him in a group. But it's not like he's behind him in a group, but he's whack or like he's not dope. Like, and I know Beezo will agree with me on this. He's no Fife. Like, he's no dude. Like, I felt like the difference.
No. There can only be one. Thank God. And that's one Fife.
And again, I'm not saying Fife is whack. I'm just saying when I would hear Tip, I always felt like Fife was like...
Beezo's foul.
I'm sorry, Fife, man. I'm sorry, man. I got to keep 100, man.
All right. But to keep it on Big Boy...
Outside of butter, he's garbage.
Love butter.
That's a whole other combo. But what I'm saying is, Big Boy, I felt like, because 3 Stacks is every, like you said, John, every MC's favorite MC or whatever like that. Right. I feel like Big Boy kind of gets this, backstage, like get to the back of the bus type thing. You in the back, and I feel like dude is nice as hell. And Quiet as Kept, I know a lot of people don't have them, but these solo albums, both joints, the Son of Chico Dusty and what is this, Vicious Lies and Dangerous Rumors. Son of Chico Dusty, I give a strong 4.5 mic to, man. Strong. And Vicious Lies and Dangerous Rumors get a strong 4 mic. And I would say Big Boy is one of the only MCs who has come out of a duo or a group or whatever and dropped 2 solid solo releases. You know what I mean? Not too many other people can say that they dropped 2 solo releases and did they thing on it. You know what I mean? So that's my man. What you want to go into, JP, since he was one of yours too?
I mean, I definitely have to agree. I don't know, kind of like you when they first came out, with Southern Playalistic and then, AT Aliens and then, Aquemini and all those. I'm not sure. I can't pinpoint when the turning point was for 3 Stacks. You know what I'm saying? Like where, he became the hare and which was the tortoise or whatever. I don't know, but I feel like whenever that did happen, and the funny thing about you saying that he did drop 2 solid solo albums, and 3 Stacks hasn't dropped anything solo. He's on a guest appearance here, and it's like people clamor to a verse. It's like less is more. You know what I'm saying? And makes him stand out even more that he's become so nice and that he hasn't even put out a whole solo project. So, I mean, but for Big Boy, I think when you're in a group, and like I was saying before, most times in a group there's one MC that's usually better than the other, and that doesn't mean that the other guy's whack. It's just that the other MC is just so great. It makes you seem not. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I think a lot of it has to do with 3 Stacks being so eccentric. On top of that, you know what I mean? And I feel like Big Boy has just been like, if Big Boy was just a solo artist, I think he'd probably be another Fabulous, to tell you the truth. Like, he'd be, not lyrically, I don't think he's nice as Fabulous. Let's not get that twisted. I feel like as far as the quality and not having that superstar power, it's something about like 3000 has that star. For some, he has that thing that everybody, you know, clings to, and Big Boy doesn't have it, but he works hard enough and puts out records to keep his status quo up. But I still think he's a good MC. I don't think he's a great MC. I think he's a good MC, but I still don't think he gets as much props as he should get just because of he's with or he's compared to, because they're in the same group.
Right. What you think, B?
That's kind of ditto pretty much everything y'all said. I mean, I was gonna say, Jay, I think that part of it is what we were just saying about Fabulous, that, you know, Dre got that. I mean, let's be real. Chicks love him. He got sex appeal. So when the chicks love you, you're gonna sell. You're gonna do well regardless. You know what I mean? Once the chicks fall in love with this cat, they're not gonna, because he ain't do a solo album, stop loving him. Big Boy, I think, is more like the hood street cat, where, you know, the fellas love him more. And I'm not saying love him more than Dre, but I think it's that we love him more than the chick. The average chick is a fan of their group or whatever, of Outkast. Right. But I mean, I agree with y'all. I think he's a professional. You know what I mean? He's one of them cats that just knows how to rhyme. He knows a cadence. He knows a flow. He knows how to put words together and not, you know, sound silly or whatever. Like you said, I don't think he's upper echelon, one of the greatest MCs and nothing like that. But I kind of equate him to like Havoc, because there was a time for me, and he was actually Hav was gonna be one of my people. I thought about it, because there was a time when they first came out that it was like P was here and Hav was like down here. But like y'all just said, part of it was because P was just that nice that it was almost like Havoc, and you know he was a producer, so you're like, all right, he's a producer that's rhyming. But then as they start going on, and after this album and that album, you start listening to more and more Hav. And then I don't know if y'all had the chance, if you ever heard his solo album.
I did.
Yo, check out his solo album. You get a chance. Just listen to it lyrically, because the beats is Mobb Deep, you know, style beats, whatever. But he sounds like a real MC. Like, oh shit. And I kind of see Big Boy in that same kind of way. Like, damn, this nigga, he just knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He's not the nicest. He's certainly not the West, and he ain't no Fife.
He had to end it like that.
What else? All right, JP, who we got next, baby?
Another, and this kind of just came to me as we're talking. You know, I have to say one of the underrated MCs I always thought was nice is Master Ace.
Wow.
You know, I think, you know, that Slaughterhouse album, man. Oh man, it was a dope.
I can't sleep on that album, man.
Yo, that album was tough, B. That was
the joint with Saturday Night on it, right?
Yeah, it was Saturday Night. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I think, you know, I mean, he was on one of the greatest posse cuts of all time, you know, in the symphony. And, you know, nobody ever talks about him or Craig G, but, you know, he got on a classic posse cut with two of the greatest MCs of all time, and nobody really talks about his verse, but he held his own, and he was just he was a new cat at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Funny thing is too, Jay, and a lot of cats don't know this story, is he wasn't even supposed to be on it. Shan was supposed to be on it. When they did the symphony, they did that joint. Check this book out, Check the Technique by Brian Coleman. It's an ill book. And they go into how when they took that picture on the back of the airplane at the airport or whatever, they all went back to the studio and did the symphony that day. And Shan was supposed to be on it, but Shan just never showed up because Shan was on some old, at that time, Shan was still
a big dude,
and it was like, I'm not going to get on this joint with these like no-name dudes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So not only did Ace hold his own, but Ace like literally just wrote that. Like on some old like, oh, y'all need me to go in here and do that? And I know for a lot of MCs that would have been hard to do. Like, okay, damn, I'm in here with Kane and G-Rap, and you know, even at that time, Craig G had more of a name of just being
right.
He was doing freestyle.
I know Craig G like in the world, but Craig was nice in Queensbridge, so you know, to get in there and do that, that's props to, you know, Ace too.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, when he came out with, you know, Hold Me in the Biz, and it was funny and comical, and that whole thing was catchy and stuff. but you know, he's always been that nice MC. Like that, like I advise a lot of people, you know, that are watching this and y'all don't know about Master Ace. Go and check out that Slaughterhouse album where he had his people on there. You know, Lord Digger, Paula Perry. You know what I'm saying? Other people on there, and also, you know, going a little further, you know, Jeep Ass Nigga, which is Born to Roll, which became the huge hit for him, Born to Roll, which was the same song as Jeep Ass Nigga. I love Jeep Ass Nigga much better because the beat was better than that Born to Roll. Right, but the Born to Roll was the one that happened to take off. But even that song was crazy. Even, you know, a few years back, he had a song with Marco Polo, the producer, called Nostalgia. It was dope. Like, lyrically, like, he's always been that cat to me that had great lyrics and all that, and just didn't blow. But I guess, you know, when you're around, I feel like when you're part of the Juice Crew and all that, and you're around all these great MCs that are the big time, but so many that's gonna be super hot at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not gonna happen. And once the others, and depending on how long that wave is written for those other bigger MCs, like, will you ever get your shot to be that big? And it might not, you know, it might never happen. It's almost like a Memphis Bleak Jay-Z situation. Not that Bleak was super nice like that, but he was always in the shadow of Jay-Z. And there was never, it could have been a time where he could have blown up, because at one point, and I'm getting off the subject, whatever, but at one point, like when Bleak first came out with Jay, him and Ja Rule was even. I feel like they used to be mad cool and like that. And Ja Rule was no better MC than Bleak to me. But Ja Rule took off. You know what I'm saying? And Bleak never got his shot. So I feel like Master Ace was kind of in that boat because, you know, he had Kane and G-Rap, and, you know what I'm saying? And I think he could have, but it just didn't happen for him. But he's put out good music, but never got his props like it should have.
Right. No. It's funny that you said Ace. I was gonna say him, because Take a Look Around, his first album, was my slept on album from the show we did. Okay. Good albums, you know what I mean? And cats really don't realize that, you know, Marley did that whole album, did the bulk of it. I think, you know, I always say Mr. C, No Homo did one track, but other than that, that's fucked up. That's not fucked up.
No reason to say that.
It is, man. I'm just saying, you know.
See, why you mention Mr. C and say No Homo?
Right. It's no reason. You don't have to do that. You can just say Mr. C.
All right, that's my bad. That's right up there with me. Who I threw under the bus, JP, would have what? A DOC? You know.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, I'm a habitual line stepper. You know what I mean?
No homo. They just mentioned his name and got to say no homo. That's fucked up. Man, see what happened? Nasty African.
Hey, stop fucking with niggas. I don't have to say no homo. But back to relate, I'm just saying, cats don't really realize that this dropped in '90, produced by Marley Marl. That's a dope, like, if, for no other reason than that Marley Marl produced the whole album, still in the heyday of Marley Marl.
Right.
Enough for cats to go out. I know a lot of cats didn't hear that album, but it's a dope album. What you think about Ace, Big?
I mean, I love Ace. Always. It's funny because, like, when you mentioned JP, I didn't remember the name, but that second album, or the second solo album, I was checking for it hard, and I remember the video. That's when he kind of got on some, like, Cali shit. He was fucking with the essays, and he had his one joint, and I think it was the one that was the song you mentioned?
On the Road.
Yeah, it's like the video was, like, at some, like, I don't know if it was that song, but he had some one.
Like a car show or something, West Coast car show or something like that.
Exactly. Right. And I was like, okay. I mean, I see what I felt what he was trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, he's trying to expand his audience because I feel like what you're saying, that he realizes, like, yo, I'm in this group that already got two of the nicest MCs in hip hop right now, so I gotta find another niche, because no matter what, no matter how nice he became lyrically, people are always going to say, oh, Juice Crew, Kane and G-Rap. The first two names will pop in your head. And then, you know, so it's like, because of that, I think he never got his true props. But I'll tell you what, you may want to check out the Diamond D joint, because he got a song with Diamonds out called Ace. And I like it. And the same thing, he says, oh man, there's a line. Oh, what is it? There's a line he got on there. I promise you, Jay, when you hear it, you're gonna be like, oh, that's what he was talking about.
Okay.
It's so sharp. I forget what the exact, but it's like a little wordplay analogy. But it's just like so sharp. It's like, okay, all right, my nigga. He lets you know I'm still nice. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Check that joint, Ace of Diamonds, off of Diamond D's album.
Okay.
Yeah. So my next joint, Beezo, it's funny you said Pooba. I gotta say Sadat X. You know what I'm saying? Just like when you said when Brand Nubians first dropped, I mean Pooba just was like, you know, almost the be all the end all. You know, I almost feel like One for All was like damn near half of Pooba's solo album. You know what I'm saying? Like and stuff like that. But and at first, you know, when he was Derek X, you know, at first it was like he had a different style, he had the nasal voice. I really almost compare him to Freeway, because when Free first dropped, I didn't like Freeway had this different style, he had that voice or whatever. But as time is going on, Sadat is probably my favorite. If Kat said who's your favorite, you know, Brand Nubian member, I probably would say Sadat, because throughout time he's grown on me so much. Two of my favorite Dot albums is definitely, I don't know if Cats have heard it, this Experience and Education joint. This was a solid album. And probably my favorite Sadat is this Black October. The Black October album is when, you know, he did Time for a Minute. So this is like the album leading up to him having to go to Rikers for that year. Gun charge. So he's telling you how he caught the gun charge. He's talking about like, yo, I gotta leave my daughter. I gotta, you know, these are the moves I gotta make. I gotta prepare for what's gonna happen. So it's a real dope album. And then Not For Nothing, you still got, cats really don't even probably know, you know, Sadat got a couple of joints. You got the State of New York versus Derek Murphy that our man Roots did a track for, Cock It Back. You still got the Wild Cowboy joint, and he still got probably about 3 more solo albums after these joints. But to me, you know, Experience and Education and Black October are definitely both dope. What do y'all think about Dot?
Yeah, I love Dot, man. Sadat. I mean, it's funny because like my man Ci, you know, he used to manage, road manage Das. He went to Morgan with us too. Sadat is like, he loves Sadat from day one. It's like Sadat. I mean, he loved Pooh too, but same kind of reasons that you did, Kil. You start liking him. Like, it's just something about his style. It's just, I don't know if there's any other MC in the game that rhymes like Sadat at all. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody that rhymes like that cat. And sometimes those type of MCs, that's not necessarily a compliment. You know what I mean? To say like, yeah, he just sounds totally different. It's like, yeah, but that's like wearing a sheepskin in the summertime type different. You know, it's not dope. That's weird. Right. But his shit manages to be left field, but still dope. You know what I mean? I've always, he's a good dude too, man. I always fucked with Sadat.
One of my favorite joints that cats forget about, that Loud Hangover from Funk Flex with him and Akinelli. Like, he goes in on that. Then another joint that cats forget about, the 199 off.
I was about to say 199. Woo, High Tech produced beat.
High Tech with Common. Sadat kills that verse. You know what I'm saying? So
over the cats. And he killed the track that Roots did for him. I don't know if you ever got a chance. Well, you got the album.
Yeah.
He killed that joint too. You know what I mean? But one thing I want to say about Brand Nubian is that I don't, and I mentioned this on Facebook, that I don't think a lot of people realize it, but Brand Nubians originally was just Sadat and Lord Jamal. Pooh was never originally a part of Brand Nubians. He was trying to shop them. I believe he wasn't shopping them as a group. He was shopping them for solo deals, and he was having a hard time getting them signed as solo artists. So he just said, well, listen, I'm working on this album over here, so let's just come together. And first, he wanted to name it Grand Pooh and the Brand Nubians, but they were like, nah, that's too long. Nobody wants to be the Pips, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you know, that's not really cool. So that's why Pooh left after the first album. As far as I know, that and like him and Jamal had some, you know, kind of thing between them, whatever. Like Jamal wanted him to go this way and Pooh wanted to stay this way with it. But I just always, you know, bothers me to the extent when I hear people say that about Nubians. It's like you almost have to hit the reset button on the album with Sadat and Jamal, because that Brand Nubians is not the Brand Nubians that we first heard. You know what I mean? It almost is two different groups. Right.
Now I feel, and the funniest thing is that the P Primo joint 2-3 weeks ago out here in DC, they showed up on stage. They showed up, and it was Sadat and Jamal. And you know, me and my man was like, man, Pooba don't never rock with them. And it's so funny that even after all these years, then like 20 minutes later, then Pooba come out. It's like, it's still like, y'all go out first, and then I'll come out. Yes. I mean, you know, it's like I'm the.
Yeah, Pooh is a funny cat, man.
But Cats was already prepared for. Cats were already prepared for how many times it's been a Brand Nubian show. or whatever, and you're expecting Pooh Bah, and you just get Jamal Sadat, which is cool with me now. You know what I mean? So
right.
It was just like, wow, you know, this is real. All right, let's blast these last two real quick. JP, who you got left?
I have to go, and you mentioned him when you were talking about Grab Lover, one of my favorite MCs, but he never gets enough props, and that's CL, man. CL Smooth. One of my favorite. Mecca Dawn, one of my favorite MCs, man. Like, I feel like, between the EP and then the Mecca the Soul Brother and Main Ingredient, man. CL, he's definitely one of them cats where I had to go back and write what he said, and I had to do it a couple times because sometimes I didn't understand what the fuck he was talking about. But I will admit that. But his delivery, his flow, and there's certain things he would say, man, it was just crazy. And for those young cats that's watching the show and y'all don't know that much about P-Rock and CL, go back and check the albums, Mecca the Soul Brother and The Main Ingredient, man. Those, I feel like he was, at the time, he was my favorite MC. Like, I didn't think there was nobody better than him. I didn't care who was big, I thought CL was that nigga. But he was super smooth with the delivery from Caramel City, you know what I'm saying? Even to, the skins with your boy Pooh Bah and all that. Cause ain't P-Rock and Pooh Bah cousins or somebody cousins or something like that?
Something like that, yeah, from what I heard, something like that.
Okay.
I think it's more like Hev and Pooh Bah's cousins.
Having Rock's cousins.
And then
I do think Pooh Bah and Hev are cousins or some shit like that.
Oh, okay, something like that. But I feel like even from Lots of Lovin' to the original version to the remix, like he always had a flow. Like his flow was always grown to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like he was that dude that I mean, even from they reminisce, man, and watching that video and see what he was like. He would tell stories, and you know what I'm saying. It would just I would visualize what he would say in my mind as and I was like, yo, this cat. But I never hear people mention him, man. Never mention him. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loves P-Rock and CL, you know what I'm saying, so, as a group or whatever, but they never mentioned, like, yo, CL Smooth was, one of them top cats. So I always felt like he was slept on and underrated.
All right, and you got another one, Jay, or was that it for your list?
No, that was it for me.
All right. Yeah, with CL, man, I always thought CL was dope. I'm with you. Didn't always know what he was talking about half the time. But he sounded so smooth with it. I mean, I think he said it best over the joint off Soul Survivor Pete's joint. He said the best whoever did over Pete Rock. It's just
nobody sound is perfect.
Mesh of those two together that make even Soul Survivor 2. Anytime those two get together, they make incredible music. Together. So I think I heard he had an album with like the Heat Makers. I heard joints off of it, but I really wasn't feeling it. I just felt like the Heat Makers, that's their production style doesn't match.
Yeah, it doesn't fit him right. Yeah, that don't even sound right to me.
It's almost like you'd want to go with a Ninth Wonder or a more laid back.
Right.
Like, these dudes is doing diplomat joints,
right.
For CL, but yeah, definitely CL was always, like you said to me, he was like that old uncle. Like he was that old like on the corner, you about to go get in the car with your boy. He's like, hey, hold on, come here, let me tell y'all something before y'all go college, before you go on your mission or whatever. But
right.
Let me tell you a quick short story. Well, me and Shy was, because we was supposed to sign to, when CL and Pete broke up, CL wanted to sign us to a production deal, and in one of the meetings we met at his brother Adolfo's crib, and CL came through, and it's just the four of us in the room talking. And Adolfo was like, this cat was like super thugged out, but one of them like guard body righteous type niggas that, he speaks proper English, don't curse. He's eating a big ass bowl of spinach while we talking and shit. But CL was just so laid back, and the way he would talk to us, it was like, I remember listening to this nigga at one point, like, yo, this nigga's rhyming right now, son. Cause he just sitting there like in the corner, like sitting down, like and talking to us like, yo, when y'all gotta do it in the beat shot, niggas got it, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, yo, this nigga's like rhyming to us. But I'm like, and I went to night school with him and shit. Like we both got kicked out of high school, was in night school, a senior year in like '88 or whatever it was. And same thing. He be walking around the school, nobody would fuck with him, nobody would mess with him. He was just that dude, you know what I mean? And this is before they was even together like that as a group. But he was always that smooth cat. He's originally from Queens too.
Oh, word? Didn't know that.
He's really from Queens and then moved to New Rochelle and then to the Vernon in like 87, 88. But from what I know, he was born and raised in Queens and shit. Wow. But, JP, one of the dopest lines from CL, and I believe it's from Carmel City, which Quiet as Kept is my second favorite Pete and CL song ever. Quiet.
Wow.
He says, turn my stumbling blocks into my stepping stones.
Yeah.
So, I mean, on a real, you got to think about what he's saying right there. I mean, that's some shit you tell your seed. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, brother. Like you just said, Kil, that's why it made me think that when you just mentioned that he's a dude, hey, young blood, come here for a minute. Right? You got to turn your stumbling blocks into your stepping stones, young blood. That's how the nigga come on. You know what I mean? So like, when you said, I was bugging like, yo, that line is exactly what Kil's talking about, because that's the type of MC he is, man. And same thing. I've always loved CL. And he doesn't sound as good on anybody's track as he does on Pete. And I don't think, not to say that nobody sounded as dope, but consistently as dope, nah, nobody sounded consistently as dope on the Pete Wright track as CL did, man.
Nah, I feel you. All right, Beezo, who you got left on your list? How many you got left?
I really had nobody. We mentioned Jadakiss. That was going to be my last dude. Jada, but again, I think amongst us, he's probably not slept on. But I think there is another generation of hip-hop fans that don't have any idea how nice Jada is and how.
I agree.
And he's kind of like, like you were saying before about Dre, man, where he's not pressed. He's not pressed to keep dropping a song, dropping an album every 5 weeks. You know what I mean? He just like, he's doing this thing. He'll get his money. He'll do a song when he's damn well ready. But when he does,
for years he's been supposed to be dropping his top 5 Dead or Alive album. You know what I'm saying? That
See, my thing with Kiss has always been him trying to ride that middle ground. I've never enjoyed Kiss albums. I enjoy Kiss mixtapes. So it's one of those things. Like, am I checking for a new Fab album? Probably not. Is the new Soul Tape mixtape? I'm definitely grabbing that. So to me, they're both similar in that realm, for me at least, that Jadakiss album don't excite me. A Jadakiss mixtape, that excites me. So, you know what I mean? But let me drop my last two real quick. My last two is the boy Rocka, Ira Science from Dilated Peoples.
Oh.
Now, see...
No. I'm with you, because remember when I told you, when I was asking you, I didn't know their names, but I'm like, one of them niggas is nice.
Yeah.
He got a long-ass name, but yeah, that dude.
Yeah, Rocka, Ira Science is dope. I know a lot of folk don't. And it's funny because I didn't know, but I've realized through time that a lot of people really don't rock with Dilated. Rocka, Ira Science is dope. He's got a solid solo album out called Crowns of Thorns that's real dope.
I'm sorry, Kil. How the hell do you say his name?
Rocka, Ira Science.
Rocka, Ira Science?
Rakaa, Ira Science. So think of science and just say Ira in front of it. Rocka, Ira Science.
Rocka, Ira Science.
But dude is dope. He's got a dope. I think every Dilated album is solid for the most part, but I really think the new album, Directors of Photography, is really a dope album, and I think he really goes in on this album. Not to say he didn't go on anything else, but definitely check Rocka, Ira Science. And to end the show, I'm mad Ev isn't here because I just feel like pissing both of y'all niggas off. Y'all know my last slept on MC is Jersey's.
No, all right, end the show.
But jump off Joe Buttons. Joe Buttons, baby.
All right,
Buttons.
My cold's getting worse. I think I gotta go, man.
Off Joe Buttons. Why is he slept on for no other reason than you two niggas just don't think this dude is nice? Joe is nice.
I always thought Joe was nice.
Thank you, JP. That. I'm glad.
Well, again, we already know why JP is even on this show now. Co-sign with Joe Buttons and shit. So
all I'm saying, Joe Buttons is nice. I understand it. I was the same way. Niggas have heard the story again and again. At an MOP show, Joe came on, killed the crowd. I ain't know nothing about him. Beezo, I was just like you. All my niggas who was with me was hype about Joe Buttons. I'm like, forget, dude. I'm waiting for MOP. At the end of the night, on my way home at 3 in the morning, get back here, I'm downloading all Joe Buttons stuff because that was the first time in my life I ever felt left out of a hip hop event. Everybody in there knew every word. Joe is nice, man. I understand why people feel like, you talking about that Pump It Up nigga? I get it. But if cats would take the time, listen to his Mood Music mixtapes, especially Mood Music 4, that right there, I always get hell for it. That's, for me, that's a 5 mic classic album. You know what I'm saying? Joe is an ill MC. I'm not even gonna ask Beezo how you feel about him because we have all.
No, I'll say this. Let me say this. In all fairness to Mr. Buttons, I think for me, it's as much that I don't care for him, and not even from the love of hip hop. Because remember, and I'm sure JP, you can probably co-sign on this. I don't know if you was back here, if you was still in Baltimore at the time, but he used to be one of the radio show hosts on Hot 97 in the morning.
Yeah, with Miss Info, right?
Miss Info, and I couldn't stand up because she was corny as all hell, and he was even cornier than she was. So I was like, yo, this nigga is whack, and it made me mad that he got on there, as far as I'm concerned, because of that one single, that bump, the bump. So I think for me,
nigga, can't you
much
think
about that?
You gotta go. You gotta do that. You can't.
I don't even know what he's saying. All I know is that bump. Yeah, there you go. But it's like, I think because of that shit. I think because when he was hosting the morning show, that I just it was like, yo, and it was at that time Hot 97 was still considered, the flagship of hip hop, at least in New York, if not the whole East Coast in America. So I'm like, and this is what they resorted to. This nigga, some dude with one single. He's that dope. I'm like, come on, man, he's not that dope. And then when I heard him talk, I'm like, he's annoying as all hell too. I think that had as much to do with me not caring for him lyrically as his lyrics, or if not more, to be honest.
I'll say this: there's no reason for me to say I'll send you something because you ain't gonna listen.
So I'll listen. I'll listen. I promise
you. I sent you.
You never sent it. You never sent no Joe Budden shit. Word is more.
Send some stuff my way too, because I know some of it, but I don't know all of it. But I know enough to know he's nice.
What you talking about? I'll listen to it. I'll listen if you got some dope MC Hammer with Vanilla Ice. I'll listen to that shit. With people singing the hook. If it's dope, I'll listen to it. Word up.
The thing that I love about Joe is one of them MCs, and I think John, you will really like him too because he reminds me of Fonte. Like he will talk about real life situations. Like if you listen to Joe enough, you will be like you understand Joe's life. He talks about his relationships openly. He's got joints. And the other thing about Joe that a lot of people don't know, Joe will go in. Joe will rhyme for 7-8 straight minutes. You know what I mean? Like there's not no 16. This dude will just go in. He's got some dope stories. He got this joint called 3 Sides to a Story. And trust me, I have converted so many people who have been like, yo, Joe is whack. I send them this joint, and if cats listen to it open ears, it's one of them stories. It's almost like Unusual Suspects. Like it's characters, and you got to piece them together, and then at the end you find out how they all connect, and it's just an ill story, and it's like he's got those in his deck. So if y'all don't know, I will definitely send out. I will put up on my Will Make Beats for Food blog a Best of Joe Budden's mixtape, mood music for, if not nothing else. You know what I mean? So. Dope show, y'all. Let's run down who we have real quick. JP had Fonte, Black Thought, Big Boy, Matt Stace, and CL Smooth. Beezo had Pooba, Black Thought, Fab, and Jadakiss. And I had Grap Lover, Big Boy, Sadat X, Rocker, Ira Science, and Joe Budden. So, everybody kind of gave a glimpse of where you could go catch some stuff with somebody. So if we named the MC that y'all not feeling, or you never really rocked with, or you may not even like, but what the hell, you respect what we say or whatever, and you just want to check them out. Y'all heard the joints we get them from. So another dope show, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We got to come back with another joint, some more slept on joints, see what Evan Vic got to say about everything. But as usual, youtube.com/live from the bench. And JP, since you said the Black Thought joint up on willmakebeatsforfood.com, I got a Black Thought for you and yours mixtape. Some of my favorite Thought verses on there. This is a dope mix. Definitely go download the joint, stream it, whatever. And keep it locked. Another dope show, y'all. Salute.
Peace.